Time now for the Nick Hart Show, our weekly chat with the Gibson Southern Titans head football coach, Nick Hart. It's a presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, including Hip Dentistry, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Robert Goob Vermillion of Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Rhythm Church, Evansville, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, 10 Barge Seed and Turfgrass Supplies, TYFL, Vogler Metalwork and Design Incorporated, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home and Monuments, Young's Auto Body, Light Transport, Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest Incorporated, Heidorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Dady Oil, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solman Photography, Make Your Mark, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile, Grandparents of Jackson Adams, Tri-State Fence, Emerson Cattle Company, Iron Horse Bar and Grill, Deborah Borchelt, and Pole Concrete. The Nick Hart Show, a special presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, Wabash Valley College's Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department, and 89 Won the Bash, starts now.
Good evening, Titans fans, and welcome to the Nick Hart Show here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com. My name is Cole Carter. I'll be joined by Kyler Gammon in just a bit, as well as Titans head coach Nick Hart, and we'll be joined by a Titans player here later on in the show, so you don't want to miss that. First off, let's recap what happened last Friday night. It was a huge win for the Gibson Southern Titans. 54-6, the final score over Mount Vernon. The win now puts Gibson Southern in sole possession of first place in the Pocket Athletic Conference, and with just 2 conference games to go, Gibson Southern is in the right path to win a second consecutive big school title in the PAC. Those stats from Friday night include Brady Allen going 22 for 35 with 366 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. In the rushing department, Adrean Lukeman had 5 carries for 28 yards and 2 touchdowns. Devin Roberts had 41 yards on 4 carries and a touchdown. In the receiving department, Caden Hurlis had 4 catches for 83 yards and a touchdown. Rory Heltzley, 5 catches for 69 yards and a touchdown. Lukeman again, 2 catches for 53 yards. Both were touchdowns. Isaac O'Neal had 1 catch for a touchdown. Cole McKee, 4 grabs for 80 yards. And Braden Malone, 4 catches for 57 yards. Once again, Gibson Southern a winner, 54-6 over Mount Vernon back on Friday night. It was a dominant performance for the Titans from the start to the finish, but the Titans really were able to make a statement for all of those people thinking they did not deserve their number 3 ranking in the state of Indiana or possibly their number 1 ranking in the Southern Indiana area, but a dominant statement win for Gibson Southern on Friday on the road in Mount Vernon. They'll be on the road again this Friday as they take on Princeton. The Tigers are 2-5 on the year. Titans will wrap up the regular season next Friday at home against Boonville. Sectional pairings come out this upcoming Sunday. We'll talk about that later on as well. But we'll go ahead and take our first break of the evening. We come back, I'll be joined by Kyler Gammon and head coach Nick Hart. Don't go anywhere. It's the Nick Hart Show right here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com.
The Nick Hart Show is brought to you by the following Gibson Southern Football Booster Gold sponsors: Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest Incorporated, Heidorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Hen Orthodontics, and by Hillside Gardens.
Welcome back into the Nick Hart Show. Cole Carter and Kyler Gammon with you. Hope you're having a great Tuesday evening, and thank you so much for tuning in to us tonight. We're now being joined by Gibson Southern head coach Nick Hart. And Coach, as always, thanks for your time. First things first, what were your thoughts on a big win Friday night against Mount Vernon?
I thought it was a really impressive performance by our guys. Really in all three phases of the game. Um, we scored every time we had the ball, and that's obviously great, and it's tough to do against a team that hadn't been giving up very many points. Thought we fought through some tough situations offensively too, where we kind of got behind the sticks because of penalties, and we're able to still execute and keep the drives going. But the defense may have been just as impressive, if not more impressive, than the offense, which is saying a lot with what the offense was able to do on Friday. I thought our defense, really kind of came out and played very good football throughout the course of the game.
How important was it to get the ball first, drive right down and score? And then I think it was 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. But how important was it to have that dominant start to take that big lead early on?
Yeah, we've been doing a great job of getting out the fast starts. Other than the South Warren game, it seems to be kind of what we're doing. Getting the ball first, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. But just the way to score and then 3 and out and score. To me, it doesn't really matter what sequence that goes in. But to your point, just the fast start and coming out. And taking care of business on both sides of the ball, I think is huge. You just kind of set the tone. And I think the best thing is, this group, they keep their foot on the gas. I think it's easy when you get up 21-0 to kind of put it in cruise control. Our guys do a great job of continuing to play at a really high level and extend those leads instead of kind of start coasting through the ball game. So I think that's another great attribute that this team has so far.
Nick, you mentioned at last week's show that you thought playing against South Warren and New Albany and Columbus North, in those games you guys played some really dynamic quarterbacks, and you thought that was going to help your guys get ready for a game like this against a guy like Nico Burnett, and that was the case. You guys really seemed to shut him down on Friday.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot. I thought we did such a good job up front. It was even hard for him to, kind of get going, like some of the other guys we've played have. So, I think, yes, it definitely helped. But I think our guys up front did such a great job. We really kind of kept him reined in and, didn't have a whole lot of place to go, thanks to the guys up front and what they were able to do.
So there in the first 3 weeks of the season, we really saw what this offense was capable of doing. And I think since the South Warren game, it's only gotten that much better week in, week out. And that really showed on Friday. Just talk about this offense and how you think it's improved over the course of the season.
Well, I think, you should get better as the season goes on. And like you said, we've been really good, minus one game so far this year. I think it's gotten so much better in the fact that, Brady now being in his fourth year has seen everything. And when teams mix up looks, he knows where to go with the football. The first touchdown to O'Neal wasn't really designed to go there, but because of the way they were aligned, he went to that guy. And I think for a high school kid to know all that, not only know that stuff, but trust all the guys to make plays. Like, hey, you're the open. He doesn't try and force it into, certain receivers. He just takes what's given to him and trusts his guys to make plays, and they are all making plays for him. They mixed up some looks on us on Friday night and stuff we hadn't really practiced for, and he knew where to go with the football every single time. And so, when you add that into his ability, that makes you very difficult to stop. And, rarely were they able to get pressure on us. So I think our offensive line is doing a great job with their pass protection. He can sit back there and pick people apart and not feel rushed. So, I think we continue to get better up front. And then, you just kind of gel and people know, where they need to be and stuff. There was a couple of backyard football plays on Friday where we saw something and we took it. When you get to that level, you're doing some really good things.
So, Coach, obviously we are over halfway of the season so far, and, what has been the most impressive thing that you've seen from Brady now that he hasn't thrown an interception and 27 touchdowns on the year? What's been the most impressive thing that you've seen from Brady from the beginning of the season to now?
Well, by the way, if he throws one this week, it's on you because you brought out the jinx. It's like talking about a no-hitter. I think, him and interceptions can happen in a right. You could get some tipped at the line, could go through receiver's hands, and it gets tipped. They're not always on the quarterback, obviously, but I think, he's done such a great job of, one, knowing where to go with the football. So he's not trying to force it into places. And two, he has a great ability to live for the next play. So, if stuff's covered and he can't scramble around and extend the play, we throw it away. And it's 2nd and 10, and we live to the next one instead of trying to, force it in some place that, the ball doesn't need to go. So I think his decision making, not only about where the ball needs to go, but when it's time to just, eat that down and move on to the next play. He's had a great ability to kind of sense that so far this year.
So moving on to this Friday, you guys have your final regular season road game of the year, taking the short trip up to Princeton. What do we know about the Tigers?
I think as you look at them, and their record's probably not where they want it to be, but there's stretches of games, where they look very, very good. And I think they moved you go back to their Mount Vernon game from earlier this year. Twice in the first, they scored on their first drive, I believe, first or second drive. Then the next 2 drives, they moved the ball all the way down into the red zone. And not only do they turn it over, their defensive touchdown. So, you kind of have that killer of getting into the red zone, and then, it turns into points for the other team. So I think they've moved the ball a lot better than their record would indicate. They just had some issues finishing drives. And as the game goes on, sometimes they can get a little bit more inconsistent, but they've moved the ball very, very well. So I think it's kind of one of those games. And then you look at last Friday, they're up 7-6 on Boonville at halftime. And I think, and we'll talk about them more next week as we play them, but I think you kind of look at Boonville and just as a fan, you could say, well, they're 1-6 or 1-5 or whatever they are. They've lost almost every single game, by a couple of points, the ones that they've lost. So I think their record could easily be flipped around the other way. And Princeton had a 7-6 lead on them at half the other night before it kind of got away from them. So, I think they're a football team that, if you just kind of look at their record and stuff, you're not going to get the whole picture about who they are and how they've played some people until games have kind of gotten away from them a little bit.
In terms of X's and O's, what can we expect to see from Princeton, and how do you guys plan to prepare for them?
They're a spread offense. They'll play a little bit more at the tight end than what we will, but kind of that 3-wide tight end type of sets, and they'll get into the 4-wide stuff too. So quarterback's a good athlete, and he can run it and extend some plays and stuff. So we got to make sure that we're in our pass lanes and we're playing the read stuff correctly. And defensively, they're a 4-man front and play too high in the secondary, and so that's kind of what we expect to see. Teams can always change it up on you, but that's what we expect to see going into Friday night.
All right, Coach, as always, thank you for your time tonight, and we'll chat with you again next week. Good luck on Friday.
All right, thanks, Cole.
That's Gibson Southern head coach Nick Hart as the Titans get ready to face Princeton this Friday night. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll have a pregame show for you at 6:45. We'll go ahead and step aside once again. When we come back, we'll chat with Titans linebacker and running back Adrean Lukeman. You won't want to miss that. Stay tuned. It's the Nick Hart Show here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com.
The Nick Hart Show made possible by the following gold sponsors of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters. Hip Dentistry, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis. JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Robert Goob Vermillion of Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Ribham Church, Evansville, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, 10 Barge Seed and Turfgrass Supplies, TYFL, Vogler Metalwork and Design Incorporated, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home and Monuments, Young's Auto Body, and Like Transport.
Welcome back to the Nick Hart Show here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com. Cole Carter and Kyler Gammon with you, being joined by Titans linebacker and running back, senior Adrean Lukeman. Adrian, of course, thanks for your time tonight. And boy, what a game you had back on Friday against Mount Vernon. 4 touchdowns total, 2 rushing and 2 receiving. First off, what were your overall thoughts on Friday's game, not just from your standpoint, but as a team standpoint?
I felt like the team mainly played as a whole. Literally it was like the game was literally you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown, you get a touchdown. It was just going off across the whole entire board. We were just dominating and everything, and we came in there with a mission. I felt like that's a team. We were just connecting, just like even on defense and offensive guys. They were just playing their butts off. I know you see our O-line getting pancakes left and right. The first touchdown I had with the screen, those guys are just blocking their butts off. Sloan Cox, he ended up getting a pancake 20 yards down the field. That's phenomenal blocking. You like to ask that from an O-lineman, that's just phenomenal. And you don't even need to ask that from him. He'll go and do it. Same with Cade, same with Ryan, Bells, any O-line that we put in, anybody that we put in, no matter who it is, we will always play for each other. We will always block our butts off for each other, no matter what happens. And I felt like, especially on the defensive side of the ball, I feel like we all stayed on our keys. We played physical. We played fast. There were multiple plays, especially like watching film after the game. There were multiple plays where the ball would be thrown to the opposite side of the field and you'd have 8 white jerseys rallying to the ball. And as a team, that's phenomenal. That shows how good our coaching is. And that shows how much we wanted to play that game and how much we want to come out there and prove to ourselves and to everybody else that we are not something to be messed around with.
We'll talk about the defense here in just a moment, but you mentioned that offensive line, and people want to talk about the passing game, the running game, but really it all comes down to those 5 guys up front, and you would know that as a running back, but it's those 5 big guys up front that makes this offense go so smoothly. Yes, sir.
Especially whenever you got big guys up front like we do, the holes that we create, it's just like I could probably walk through it with my arms spread wide open and I'd still be able to get to the hole. They just block their butts off and they do not stop their feet from running. Whenever they go until that whistle blows. And then, it's just phenomenal whenever you have guys like that. I've never had an O-line like this. It's probably the best O-line I've ever played with, period, my entire high school career. And it's just phenomenal to have a team like this.
Talking to Gibson Southern linebacker and running back Adrean Lukeman here on the Nick Hart Show. And Adrian, last Friday was probably the biggest conference game that some of you guys have played in your career. Going on the road to face an undefeated team. What was the mindset last week during practice and even before the game on Friday?
Our mindset was definitely we were in attack mode. We wanted to come out even if we may have messed up or may have messed up on a play, we were going to come out. We were wanting to be the bigger, more pphysical, faster and stronger team. Our tempo, really, really quick. We were not stopping. Really, the only thing that was slowing us down tempo-wise was the refs. They were kind of delaying us a little bit. But, we were coming out and we wanted to be the better team because we had a mission that we had to go on because they were talking so much smack on social media. So we were going to come in there and prove them all wrong. So we just had a phenomenal the weeks leading up to that game. I would say that was probably one of our better weeks of practices that we've ever had going into that game.
Talking to Gibson Southern linebacker and running back Adrean Lukeman, you guys are 6-1 now, and that one loss being the South Warren game from last month. What did you guys learn from that South Warren game? Because ever since, it's like a switch has been flipped on both sides of the football. So mentally, after the game, on the ride home, the weeks following the game, what did you guys learn from that South Warren game?
One, mainly from the South Warren game, we kind of learned that we'll run into a team like that probably later on down the road in sectionals, and it helps us learn that, look, we got a lot of stuff that a lot of good teams can take advantage of, especially if we're not staying on our keys sometimes. And we kind of, after we lost that game, we the first half came out, and the second half, we completely reset our whole entire minds. We thought the score was 0-0, and we were going to come out, we were going to play that game, and we were going to play our best no matter what that scoreboard said. And I mean, really after the game, none of us, we didn't bow our heads down. We kept all of our heads up, and we said, we're going to go on to the next game, and we're going to keep proving everybody wrong. Like, this is our mission, and we want to keep proving everybody wrong, because there's a lot of doubters and a lot of haters before and after that game saying how we're going to lose it. Well, we don't really care. Our mindset is we play this game. Once we get done with this game, we're on to the next, and that's our mission, is to win this one. And it completely, I remember Coach Hart ended up saying to us after South Warren, he said, this game, he said, it shows us that we got a long way to go, and later down the road, this will come in handy whenever we're down in the regionals or semi-state.
So, Adrian, I believe that you were a transfer from North Posey, and you played a little bit last year, but now getting all the action this year. What's been the biggest difference from transferring to North Posey to Gibson Southern?
I mean, it was a big transition. I mean, you could definitely tell in the practices wise, like versus North Posey versus Gibson Southern. It's literally like a college practice. Like, we treat everything, and it's all tempo. You're moving fast, you're staying on your keys, doing tackling drills, you're going all out. I mean, you can just tell the coaching staff, like, they're more hard on you, they're more disciplined, and everything. It's just there. Like, everything's just, they have the keys, and now they're just giving it all to us.
So, Adrian, whenever you come in, I know that Coach Sellers is really hard on his players and really gets you in the weight room. What's that experience been like for you?
Oh my gosh, Coach Sellers, man, he's like another father figure to me, especially whenever I came in. Like, he built me into how, like, big I am today. He built me a lot, and a lot of credit goes to him, and especially building our whole entire team. There were guys, like, whenever Cade came in, Cade started bench pressing like 315 pounds. Sloan started bench pressing 315 pounds, squatting 500. I mean, he builds them like maniacs. Like, the amount of time we put in that weight room is unbelievable.
Once again, chatting with Titans linebacker and running back Adrean Lukeman. And so, Adrian, this week you guys are on the road at Princeton, and it's one of those games where on paper you guys are obviously going to be favored to win. So how do you guys go about practicing in a game where you're favored to win, and yet again you don't want to overlook a team like Princeton?
Mainly in practice, we don't want to stoop down to their level. We want to stay at our championship or championship attitude. We do not want to come down to their level, because if we are degress, then instantly we're going to have to gain all that back in sectionals. And if we make it out of sectionals and everything else, we're going to have to gain it all back. And we're just trying to stay right here so we can just build on top of it day by day. And I mean, going into something like a Princeton, obviously, like you said, we're favored to win, but we can't stoop down to their level. We're not gonna let up, and we're just gonna continue playing our game.
I'm going to jump over to the defensive side of the ball. And last question for me, Adrian, is what has it been like playing with great linebackers such as Levi Dickerson and Logan Maurer this season so far in defense?
Levi, as he came here, me and him instantly clicked. Like, we were instantly just like that. The chemistry was there. And with him, he has a dog mentality. It's I'm going to hit you in the mouth until you get tired. I mean, the kid is insane. Like, the amount of heart he's laid me out a couple times, and I'm telling you, it's been fun. Like, I love competing with him. He's a natural competitor. He's a hard hitter. He's really physical. Does not shy away from contact whatsoever. And I mean, like, it's almost like a linebacker. Whenever me and him are in there, it's like we have a sixth sense. Like, me and him know where each other are going to go way before we even do anything. Like, there would be plays where it was against Mount Vernon, me and him will instantly recognize the ball, and we'll follow the ball and we'll instantly recognize it. And me and Levi will just instantly start chasing after it, and oh my gosh. There was a play where the guy tried to cut back. Me and Levi were just literally basically kind of arm locked and all that. And as soon as he tried cutting back, that's whenever me and Levi just got right on him. Like, me and Levi, everywhere I go, he goes. Everywhere he goes, I go. it's just like that. I mean, whenever you have a linebacker, like especially Logan Maurer, like whenever you have 3 phenomenal linebackers, I mean, there's nothing much you can ask for right there. And then for linebackers to be good, you also got to give credit to the D-line, because the D-line, I mean, for us to be able to get through our holes and make those tackles, I mean, that's phenomenal.
So last question for me, Adrian, and we'll let you go. Back on Friday, you scored 4 touchdowns, 2 rushing and 2 receiving. Which one was your personal favorite?
I would definitely say the screenplay. The screenplay was definitely my favorite, because I thought for the screenplay, I hit it perfectly because I hit right behind my big old line and all that. And I ended up coming out, and as soon as I caught that ball, all you hear is Brady saying, "Go 1-3, go 1-3," and then I ended up juking out that kid, scored, and then Brady, he was hyped, came over there, smacked me in my helmet and everything, and that was probably the best thing I've ever experienced, was Brady Allen coming up to me and smacking me in my helmet.
And that's awesome. Love to hear it. Once again, Adrean Lukeman, Titans linebacker and running back. Thanks for your time tonight, man. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, guys.
We'll go ahead and take our final break of the evening. When we come back, we'll get you ready for Friday's matchup with Princeton and also take a look at the Titans sectional as the sectional pairings come out this upcoming Sunday. Don't go anywhere. It's the Nick Hart Show here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com.
The Nick Hart Show is made possible by the following silver-level sponsors of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters: ADG Architecture and Design Group, Dady Oil, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solman Photography, Make Your Mark, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile, Grandparents of Jackson Adams, Tri-State Fence, Emerson Cattle Company, Iron Horse Bar and Grill, Deborah Borchelt, and Pole Concrete.
It's the Nick Hart Show here on 89.1 The Bash and BashRadio.com. Cole Carter with you, as once again want to say thanks to head coach Nick Hart and Titans linebacker and running back Adrean Lukeman for chatting with us tonight. Going to take a second and look at the Titans sectional as the sectional pairings come out this Sunday evening. The Titans are once again in sectional 32, and joining them in sectional 32 is Corydon Central, who is 0-6 on the season, Evansville Bosse, who is 2-4, Heritage Hills, who's 5-2 on the year, Mount Vernon, who's now 6-1, North Harrison, who is 2-4 this season, Salem, who's 4-1, and Southridge, who is currently 4-3. So once again, that's Corydon Central, Evansville Bosse, Heritage Hills, Mount Vernon, North Harrison, not to be confused with Harrison High School there in Evansville, Salem, and Southridge. That is who Gibson Southern will be paired with in sectional 32. We'll find out who they will play, as the blind draw will be this Sunday at 4 o'clock Central Time, 5 o'clock Eastern. And we will be sure to let you know who Gibson Southern plays as soon as we find out. Once again, that is Sunday evening. As far as this Friday, the Titans are on the road to take on the Princeton Tigers. They are 2-5 on the season. They fell to Boonville back on Friday by a final score of 35-13. That was Boonville's first win of the year. That was a game that Princeton actually led 7-6 at halftime, as you heard Coach Hart mention. But the Titans, their final road regular season game here in 2021 at Princeton this Friday. That's a 7 o'clock kickoff. Pre-game show will begin at 6:45. Kyler Gammon and myself will have all the action. So that's going to wrap things up on this evening's broadcast. Once again, I want to say thanks to Nick Hart and Adrean Lukeman for chatting with us tonight. Thank you to all of you who have tuned in, and thank you to all of our Gibson Southern football sponsors. For Kyler Gammon, I'm Cole Carter. We'll chat with you again on Friday night as Gibson Southern takes on Princeton. This has been the Nick Hart Show on 89.1 The Bash. Go Titans!
The Nick Hart Show has been brought to you by the following Gibson Southern Football Boosters: Brett's Car Care, Baker Tax and Financial Services, Cordray Insurance, Daylight Land Management, Davis Brothers, Du Bois County Garage Doors, Duke Energy, Foster Construction, Fort Branch Dairy Queen, Harper's Pub and Pizza, Hobstadt Summerfest Incorporated, Hydorn Construction, Hobstadt Family Dentistry, Penn Orthodontics, Hillside Gardens, Hip Dentistry, in memory of Darwin and Eric Kalis, JMCO Technologies, Kiesel Enterprises Incorporated, MyTech Systems, Robert Goob Vermillion of Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, Rhythm Church, Evansville, Scotty's Lawn Equipment, 10 Barge Seed and Turfgrass Supplies, TYFL, Vogler Metalwork and Design Incorporated, Reinbrecht Homes, Stodgel Funeral Home and Monuments, Young's Auto Body, Like Transport, ADG Architecture and Design Group, Dady Oil, Johnson Commercial Mowing, in loving memory of Zach Bailey, Julia's School of Dance, Kathy Solman Photography, Make Your Mark, United Fidelity Bank, Vertical Tile, Grandparents of Jackson Adams, Tri-State Fence, Emerson Cattle Company, Iron Horse Bar and Grill, Deborah Borchelt, and Pole Concrete. The Nick Hart Show has been a special presentation of the Gibson Southern Football Boosters, the Wabash Valley College Radio, TV, and Digital Media Department, and 89.1 The Bash.